you're searching for Laramy Miller, this is where you look for him. Riding the lonesome places. Along rugged trails like these came the mountain men, seeking the wealth of the Rockies. And it's where they found the most western of deer. The long-eared one, first named by Lewis and Clark, who called it the Mule Deer.
Well, I'm back here in the land of the Comanche. I'm chasing mule deer, and I'll tell you what, it ain't gonna be an easy task. Open country, and then you got these deep canyons that are real thick and nasty. And the hardest part is gonna be finding the deer. Once you find him, you can get him killed, but it ain't gonna be an easy task to find that big old mossy horn buck. But I do believe I'm up for the challenge.
For old Hoss Laramy, there's only one way into the lofty isolation of mule deer country.
One thing about the good old Rocky Mountains is, especially if you want to get back into country like this, yeah, you can walk back in here and hunt. I can promise it's 100 times easier on a horse, especially if you wind up getting something killed. Packing it out on your back when you're 15 miles back in the middle of nowhere ain't no fun.
Up here, the view is as far as you care to take it. Hunting with your eyes means breaking up the landscape into tolerable bites and requires the patience of a coyote waiting out a prairie dog.
A place like this should be loaded with deer. I don't know why there's not any deer. It used to be. But guess what? Used to don't help me. There's one major difference between elk hunting and mule deer hunting. You hunt in very similar places, but elk hunting you hike a lot more. Mule deer hunting's a lot of sitting and glassing and just kind of waiting for them deer to get up. The deer aren't quite as spooky as elk are. They'll stay out later in the day. They'll bed down in the open, so it's a lot more glassing. And of course, they're not vocal, so you can't hear them and move in on them. But guess what? We're still in the high lonesome and we're still having a blast.
Laramy needs to ponder the backside of the ridge, and even a young blood feels the altitude.
I got a pretty decent buck. He's just feeding along the shadows on the edge of the trees. It's a pretty dang good situation. I'm gonna drop down, try to get about 100 yards from him.
Some folks don't grant the mule deer much credit for common sense. But unless the hunting conditions are near perfect, stalking one can be harder than catching a greased pig.
That buck was right down here about 100 yards. I have to ease around these aspens and keep glass and see if I can find him. This is where patience is what you need.
A smoke pole's no gun for a pilgrim. It takes genuine stalking and marksman skills. It's the troublesome way, but that's the way Laramy reckons it ought to be.
That right there is a perfect example of you can do everything right and the situation can be perfect and it still don't work out. I had a pretty nice buck. He was down there about 100 yards, bedded down right below me. There's 3 does out feeding in the meadow. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he just felt something or had the wind perfect. he got up and trotted off. Went down into these aspens, and you're never gonna stalk him in there. So, mule deer 1, Sasquatch 0. But I ain't giving up that easy. You gotta go to where the critters are.
For Laramy Miller, it's been a long ride into the high country on a hunt for the true deer of the Rockies, the mule deer. So far, his best efforts at sneaking and stalking have only shown him how smart this lop-eared deer can really be.
This is one of my favorite places to hunt right here. I've got a scrape line that's probably quarter to half a mile long, and there is a ton of deer in this area. I'm just gonna keep working up and down this ridge, following about 100 yards off of this scrape line and all these rubs through here, and seeing if I can't get lucky and come up on a deer.
Night's coming, and for Laramy, it's time to bank up the coals and roll out the buffalo hide.
I'm gonna go get some firewood, get a fire started, settle into camp, be ready to hunt in the morning. I tell you what, the hunting's been really slow. It's been really warm. I think them bucks are bedded up in the timber and not coming out until after dark. When you're up high like this, if they're in the timber, they're tough to find. That makes it hard to try to sneak in on them if you don't know where the heck they're at. So I think I'm gonna head down to the lower country where it's a little more open. I can have a better chance of seeing a deer before he sees or hears or smells me. It's the one thing about hunting. You gotta learn and adapt every day.
Dawn, and time for some campfire coffee. And you can float a nail in and strategizing about what lies ahead. Prized possession of a lucky few mountain men was a special rifle.
The original Hawken. There was only less than 300 of them made originally. You know, whenever you hear about mountain men or you think about mountain men, what do people think about? Jeremiah Johnson and the Hawken rifle. It's like the staple of the mountain men. Pretty good. It's dead on. I do believe that'll do some damage. That's the nice thing about these round balls. They destroy anything in their path. They expand and they'll blow through, for instance, this tree. Blew clean through that tree. Well, what do you think it's gonna do to an animal?
To find out, Big 50 Laramy is gonna need his best buckskin skills. Laramy's new plan calls for him to up sticks and mosey down to lower country. And the change of scenery looks like it might have hit pay dirt.
That's a big old mule deer.
You gotta go to where the critters are.
Buckhorn Laramy Miller has scaled the steep slopes on the hunt for mule deer. But he's found that the deer up here have tucked back into the trees. Now, he needs to head down to more open country.
That's a big old mule deer. 180, 185-inch deer.
Like they say, they don't get big by being feather-headed. And this rocking chair buck knows Laramy's around, so he vamooses for deep timber.
Well, I decided to come down out of the mountains and lose a little elevation. Heading down into the Badlands.
Down off the tall peaks, the broiling sun begins to cause wear and tear on man and animal alike. It soon becomes clear to Laramy that it's time for him and his stock to do a little shading.
Tell you what, you can sure tell a difference between the high country and down here. I bet it's 20 degrees warmer down here. And I don't like that. I'm a cold weather guy. I know I sure don't want to be working in this heat. It ain't fair on these horses, making them work like a borrowed mule. I think I'm gonna do like the deer are doing though. I'm gonna find me some good shade and take me a nap, let the horses rest. Hang out until it gets a little later and go see if I can't find me a deer. If it was my choice, I'd rather stay in the high lonesome, but you gotta go to where the critters are.
Horses nose into their feed, old Sasquatch finds himself a pleasant spot for a short recline.
Tell you what, them animals bed down, they get in the thickest cover they can, and they don't hardly move. That makes it a lot tougher for me. I'm gonna have to go beat the bush and see if I can't jump a mule deer up somewhere.
This time of year, the does gather while the bucks are somewhere off to the side.
We got a handful of deer over here. There's 2 different herds.
It's too early for the he-deer to have skinheads on the brain, but at least Laramy knows there are critters in the backcountry, even if they don't lead him direct to a rack buck.
They're moving the wrong way. They can either be right on the other side of this little stand-up, or they could be long gone, one of the two.
Laramy finally spots what he may be on the lookout for.
Oh, I can see a good buck. He's bedded down. All you can see is the top of his antlers. He's right there in the grass. There's no way to get to him. He's about 250 yards away. He's out in the wide open. What I'm gonna have to do is there's just a little draw. Then I'm gonna have to get on my belly and crawl all the way down to him. This country ain't fun to belly crawl in, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Let's see if we can't make this work.
Even getting lower than a snake in a wagon rut, Laramy still cannot avoid detection.
at me. Oh, the buck just got up. He's got a little buddy right in front of him. It's just a waiting game now.
One buck beds down, but the one old Grizz Laramy's after is not so easily persuaded.
That was freaking awesome.
It's been a long journey from the high country down to the sagebrush flats, all of it in pursuit of laying up some mule deer venison for the winter. Now, Laramy may be closing in on just the buck he wants.
That buck just laid back down. In order for me to get any closer, I'm gonna have to shed my Possibles bag and go Sasquatch commando on him. If I can close about 30 yards, I can get a good shot.
That stand of brush is tall enough to provide even old treetop Miller with cover. Now it's backsides and elbows over the final last bit of dirt.
This is the hardest part about this whole deal is I've got a nice buck bedded down, but I gotta wait for him to stand up to get a shot. It'll really test your patience.
Laramy's dropped the hammer and let her fly. Now he hopes the rifle ball has done the job.
That was freaking awesome. The mosquitoes were eating my ass up. Excuse my language. Made this stalk from about, 150, 200 yards away. Crawled all the way in on him. He stood up. The other little buck was blocking him. Took forever. Finally, he gets up and kind of trots off. I don't know if they smelled me or what. I went, "Meh," and he stopped right on top of that ledge, just perfect. I'm pretty sure he dropped in his tracks, but we better go check.
All doubts soon evaporate.
Oh, will you look at that? Holy cow, he's a lot bigger than I thought he was. I'm not a trophy hunter by no means, but that right there is a trophy. I don't care where you're at. It's getting dark. Better get him cut up and the heck out of here.
Now comes the part all mountain men, from Jeremiah Johnson on down, relish the most. Fresh venison sizzling over a wood fire. Though Johnson was a mite partial to liver.
Not quite Mama's home cooking, but it'll do.
This is Laramy's home for now. He's got himself a lodge made of stars, and the satisfaction of knowing he's made it through another test with well-earned meat laid by and the wilderness to shelter him.